is up, guys? Welcome back to another. And I'm your host, Cody Cottle. And every single week, I go live with a special guest here across all platforms. Tonight, we're going to be streaming to the Motivation Everything Facebook community, to my personal profile, and to the YouTube channel. If you guys haven't checked out the YouTube channel, we're doing some awesome stuff with that. Make sure you go check it out. We were streaming on IG. We're figuring out some back-end stuff with that. We'll be on IG again soon. But yeah, guys, just welcome back to another incredible episode. This week, I'm joined by somebody that I got the privilege of meeting probably only, a few weeks ago now, Carlos?
Yeah, it's been a few weeks.
Yeah, and guys, ever since I've met him, ever since I've gotten plugged up on what he's going to do, you guys are about to hear about, so stay tuned. I can't get enough of him. I'll be honest. Like, his content, his story, what you're going to see tonight is absolutely inspiring. And that's why I thought overcoming adversity would be such an incredible discussion to talk about with Carlos tonight, guys. So I want to give him a warm welcome. Now, if you guys are live right now and you're tuning in, go ahead and drop live and welcome to the show, Carlos. If you're catching the replay, because I know a lot of people have work and stuff, and sometimes you guys catch the replay, let us know. Hashtag replay. Say, hey, Carlos, I want you guys to connect with him. But, Carlos Sandoval, AKA the Native Colt, you guys are going to find out more about that. He has cerebral palsy. He's an athlete. So amazing what he's done. He's a DJ, he's a producer, and he's a loving father. And I have to say, him and his daughter are like the cutest thing in the world. Carlos never takes no for an answer and lives his life with no barriers. Dealing with his diagnosis, his whole life, he has adapted and overcome every obstacle that's gone in his way. I really want you guys to think about this. He has cerebral palsy. He's an athlete. And he's a fucking beast at that. He loves being a father and producing music, living each day to the fullest. He proves that it's not about the cards you're dealt. It's how you play your hand. Carlos, welcome to the Motivation Everything show, brother.
Oh, man. Happy to be here, man. Very humbled. Super excited. Thanks for having me.
Dude, we're honored to have you. Let's dive into it, dude. Like, a lot of people have been asking about you. What's your story, Carlos? Tell us more about you, everything you've had to overcome, where you're at, and where you're going.
Well, man, so much to say, but yeah. So when most people want to know, a lot of people are like, what is cerebral palsy? How does it happen? So basically, I was born with the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck. I lost oxygen just for 8 seconds, and that's all it really took for damage to happen to my cerebral cortex. And the crazy thing is, my parents were really young, and usually it's the doctor knows, or the people delivering the baby, they know that it happens. It's usually negligence most of the time, not always, but it can be prevented. So I was actually a completely healthy baby, and that's also something that we can dive into later. But the crazy thing is, my parents had no idea until I just wasn't developing. I wasn't walking. I couldn't grab things. I just seems like something was off. I just wasn't developing the way I should. They went back, and then that's when I think I was about a year, and they went back to another doctor, and they're like, yeah, you know what, your son has cerebral palsy, damage to the cerebral cortex, which basically controls all your motor functions. I like to say the perfect example is when you're walking, when you grab things, when you're doing things, you just kind of subconsciously do it. You're not really thinking like one foot in front of the other. You're just kind of going with it, almost on autopilot. And that's your cerebral cortex's job to do that. So you can handle everything else. But with me, for example, I have to constantly think about that because the damage is there. So you have to basically reteach yourself how to walk every single day, how to move, even just to I drop a quarter on the floor just to pick that up, opening a door, going up the stairs. I mean, there's just so many things that a lot of people take for granted. I have to constantly be thinking about, because if I don't, then I literally will not be able to pretty much do anything. So it pretty much has created a pretty interesting life for me growing up. It took a lot for me to get me walking, get me going. I used to have horrible vision. I even had trouble swallowing food because that's also a muscle to swallow food. A lot of physical therapy, a lot of experimental stuff. When I was younger, they used to do Botox. Botox was barely coming out now. Botox is for, people with, they're using it for a lot of cosmetic facial stuff. But before, it was actually experimental because it relaxes the muscle. So they would actually inject it all over my body, and that was pretty crazy. It was pretty traumatic. It did help, but it was very painful. I've been through a surgery as well. had to recover, lots of physical therapy, and basically led up to where I'm at right now, where I'm still every day trying to overcome and trying to adapt to live as normal of a life as I possibly can. And so that comes with a lot of not just physical obstacles, but also a lot of mental struggles, especially growing up, being different, being bullied, being made fun of, being told no for a lot of things that I wanted to do. Like I dreamed of joining the military growing up, and I remember I went to the conference. There was I'll never forget that day. That's when I knew like life was really going to kick my ass. I'm sorry, my language.
No, you're good, bro.
Yeah, that's when I knew life was very, very, very different for me. I went and I just remember the naval guy being like, hey, you know what, man, like you're never going to be able to do anything like this, anything physical. You're going to be able to be, Army, Navy, they won't take you, police officer, firefighter, anything physical, like for government or anything, you're not going to be able to do. And that really just killed me, because I'm like, well, that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? That's all I dreamed of doing. And it got crushed. So from then on, I just had to learn to either cry about it, be sad about it, and become the victim, or basically pave my own way in life. And it set me on a crazy journey to now.
Dude, that is, I can't even imagine, Carlos, like, you got dealt a shitty hand of cards, right? At birth, that something that was completely outside of your control. So you went through this and you found that out, right? Like, hey, you're never going to be allowed to be in the military or police officer or firefighter, and that crushed you. And I can only imagine, dude, like as you were saying that, like my whole body got chills. Now, I've gotten to see kind of where you're at now. Continue taking us through that journey. How does someone deal with that? And then how do you move forward, and how do you overcome that adversity?
Well, it really it's about, there's a lot of factors, but it really you kind of see who you are, like I was stating, I could become the victim, or I could pave my own way, and with, especially, I had great parents, great supporting parents. My parents were very like, throw me in the mix everywhere, sink or swim, see if you could do it. All right, at least you tried it. At least we can keep going. And I got to the point where I'm like, no, like, I don't want to just try something. Like, I want to do everything, and I want to like just adapt and find a way to do it. Like there's got to be a way to do this, So I just put the mindset that no matter what, I might do it a little differently. I might do it a little bit slower. It might be inconvenient for some people, or different. I might get made fun of, but I just got into like, I really don't care. I really don't care what people think, or what, if someone's going to look at me or anything like that, because, it's a battle between me and my mental game, because no one's going to come and tell me no, right? The only person that can tell you no is yourself.
Come on.
And yeah, exactly. No, that's the only person who can tell you no is you. If someone tells me no, I'll go through the back door. If somebody says that I can't do it, I'll do it just to let them know, I could do it. And that's the mentality you have to have. It's the perspective. And it also came to, I started to learn, I started to just, one of the big things was the gym. I would show up to the gym, and once I had that mentality, people started coming up to me like, man, I just want to let you know that, you're a big inspiration for me. When I was younger, you're a young kid. I was like, oh, okay, cool, man. Yeah, like whatever. My head was like, I'm just in here trying to do what you're doing, But as I've gotten older and as I've matured, I've actually started to realize what it really means for somebody else to see me and be inspired by that. And because of that, I've met so many other people. I started meeting people, in a wheelchair, or parents with their kids with cerebral palsy, or different disabilities, or just people in a rut. And they're like, you know what, man, like you really inspire me, man. You really motivate me. Like, because of you, I've done X, Y, and Z. And man, it just really put in perspective for me. Number one, it showed me that I had a purpose. I always wonder, well, why am I like this? Because the thing that killed me the most always was, I was healthy, I was fine up until that moment of negligence from somebody else, right? From a doctor. I was okay. And that always just drove me nuts. I'm like, those 8 seconds I could have been avoided, but I was like, I'm going to deal with it, or did this happen for a reason? And, I went with, well, this is for a reason. This is to help this person and this person and this person. And I've just grown to just keep doing that. And number two, it's also shown me how blessed I am, because yes, I walk with a limp. Yes, there are things hard. Yes, I've told no, but like, what about the person that can't even get out of the bed by themselves? What about the person that can't even walk? What about the person that can't live independently? You know, what about the person with huge mental issues where they can't even function? You know, there's just people, the person with terminal cancer, the person with no arms or no legs. I mean, you really look in your mirror, like, am I really going to give myself a pity party about this? Well, I have so much more than what others do out there, you know? And it just becomes like a, you know, you have to play a mind game, a mental game with yourself, because sometimes we feel like, oh, the world is a shitty place and I'm in the worst position ever. Or are you in the position to succeed and be successful, you know, and help those other people that do really need it, you know? So yeah, that's what I've come into, where I'm at now. I'm just like, you know what, this is for a reason. I'm not going to let it be in vain. I'm going to live my life the way I want, and I'm going to inspire and help others in the process. I'm going to bring value to other people in a way that they can't get it from anywhere else. So
Yeah, man, you're inspiring me right now, brother. And it's so inspiring. It's so, and you know, I really do believe personally that might be, this is your purpose. You know what I mean? Like, you talk about those 8 seconds of negligence, but because your life's gone the way it's gone and you are the man that you are, and even here right now tonight on the Motivation Everything show, you were given this path because they knew you could handle it. And they knew through this that you were going to have gifts and talents and abilities and story and testimony to share with the world that is going to inspire people. I mean, I personally, I see amazing things for you in the future. And you know, we've talked about that outside of the show, and I just I love what you're doing, man. You're such an inspiration and you're passionate about it. You don't take no for an answer. I freaking love it, dude. That's the mentality I got. And you know, you talked about like that sinker swim mentality, right?
Definitely.
That seems like important. Tell us more about like what it is to develop this sink or swim mentality and what that's done for you in your life.
So yeah, the sink or swim, it's big, man. I think we all have a moment, you know, when we get told no, when we get hit with a decline, when we're hit with bad news, or your life changes. You have the opportunity to sink or swim, right? And or sometimes people in a mediocre life are just kind of float on by. And I just started to realize that, yes, you know, yes, I have this problem. Yes, you know, people give me, you know, sympathy or they pity me. And I start to get to the position where I was like, you know what, like, okay, what am I gonna get if I'm in a room and people feel sorry for me, right? And everyone's like, oh yeah, like I love Carlos, like he's cool, and you know, I feel bad for him. And I started to feel like I don't want like sympathy, I don't want pity, I don't even want a handout, you know. Like, I even got to a point where I was like applying for Social Security, you know, and I was like, wait, do I really want this handout? Like, if I have the ability to go out and get it myself, like, do I really want to take a handout from the government, you know? And I was just like, no, you know what? I'm gonna swim. I'm gonna swim no matter where I'm at, no matter the options that are there. I'm gonna make sure that I'm swimming, right? And on the way while I'm swimming, like, I'll build a raft, and like the people that are sinking, they just need that inspiration, that motivation. Like, jump on, man. Like, I got you, you know. Like, I'm gonna be that person. And I think that's super important for someone to develop too, because yeah, at first when I was younger, like, yeah, it was sad. I was, you know, I would get depressed, and you know, I mean, I've been suicidal in my times in my life because I was just learning how to deal with stuff, you know. But in the end, like, nobody cares whether you have a disability, whether, you know, you're dealt a bad hand. You know, I see people, I'm like, oh man, I feel bad for that guy, like, you know, on the wheelchair walking across the street. But in the end, like, I'm not going to pay his bills. I'm not going to take care of him. You know, he's going to have to take care of himself. And the same goes for me too. And it's a cruel world out there, you know. So that sink or swim mentality is everything. And I think most people sink. They expect somebody else to come save them. They have every excuse in the book. You're like, oh, well, it's because of this, well, because of that, and this and that. And like, I just got to the point where I was like, I don't want to be those people, you know. And that goes for it too. Like, you don't want the sympathy. You don't want the sympathy. You don't want the pity. You want people to be inspired. You want people to be motivated. And yeah, man, it takes time to develop that, you know, because especially when you get hit. I've gotten hit physically, of course, and of course mentally. I got hit and slapped with a lot of things in life, and you know, in the end, you have to swim. You have to swim. You cannot sink.
Yeah, you know, it reminds me of a shark mentality. You know what I mean? Because like, sharks can never stop swimming, and if they do, they die. and kind of developing that mentality. I love that sink or swim. You know, you talked about life throwing people adversity, right? And guys, like taking away from this, imagine the adversity that Carlos has been thrown and will continue to be thrown having cerebral palsy. And I love, dude, you're like, I don't want fucking pity. I want to fucking do it. I want to get it done. I want to make it happen. And I think I see so many people in life, right? Like we encounter adversity, we encounter obstacles and challenges. And it's interesting how many people fold, man. How many people do sink? How many people do give up? How many people justify and make excuses and don't have that mindset that you've developed to swim, to figure it out? I'm curious, like if someone is listening to you right now, right? And they're like, Carlos, I struggle with developing that sink or swim mentality. What advice would you give to that person to develop that resilience in themselves?
Well, I mean, I'm also a very blunt person too. I've heard
Dude,
this.
be blunt. People need that. I'm direct too.
I just tell people, I'm like, look, man, like if you sink, like who's gonna come for you? Like who's gonna come for you? Like look at where you're at right now. Like you're telling me I'm at rock bottom. I don't know what to do, you know? And then I'll ask them, like, how long have you been there? You've been there for a while, right? Has anybody come to save you? No one's gonna save you. I'm not going to save you. I can give you words, right? We talked about the age of information and having all these, you know, we have like motivation, inspiration porn daily all over our stuff. But if you don't use it, you're not, you know, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. You're not going to have anything. So my thing would be like, look, if no one's going to come to save you now, like, why don't you got to save yourself. You got to do it for yourself. No one is going to do it for you. No one did it for me. You know what I mean? And, that's got to be my advice to you, you know, like it's what you're doing right now is it's not working, you know, and you're going to get this rude awakening, whether it's from me or somebody else. I rather for it to be from me than for it to be from someone bigger or something bigger in life. But you need to get your ass up and you need to swim, because you're just, like you said, you have to develop that shark mentality. But that's basically how I live my life and how I tell people, you know. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, pity is like, I don't want, almost pity and sympathy from others almost makes you soft. It almost makes it's almost like a weakness for yourself, you know? So yeah, I would just tell them, you know, no one's going to come save you, man. You got to do it yourself.
Man, good advice. Good advice. And I think culturally we're in a scary time right now, right? Where a lot of sympathy and a lot of pity and a lot of justification, a lot of excuses are made, and people don't really take extreme ownership over their life, over their actions. And the consequences attached with them. You know, it's interesting because I don't know if you've seen, I have this choose your hard mentality, and I've really thought about it. And it's like everything in life is hard. Choose your hard. You know, like for you, you could decide to not be a beast like you are in the gym and to really better your state of physical. And you could go the route, like, so working out like you do, I'm sure like it's hard, dude. Like you push yourself. Not working out and the consequences with that is also hard, right?
You go, yep.
Choose your hard.
Exactly, man. And that's you know, like I love that choose your heart. That just rings so true. You know what I mean? Either way, you're going to have to deal with stuff, right? You want to deal with at least your, you know, I might not be, you know, I might have tripped up the stairs this time, right? But if I hadn't been going to the gym and I hadn't worked out, like I couldn't even walk up the stairs. So choose your heart. I love that. That is awesome.
Dude, let's go. We'll have to talk on that. I have some really cool marketing stuff I'm doing. I'm not going to lie, the marketer in me is like, dude, I should partner with Carlos. We should do a whole campaign around Choose Your Heart, partner up. We're going to talk because I think we could do some cool stuff with that. I already see the videos in my mind.
I love it.
All right, so take us through the journey, because we haven't even talked much about this fitness journey that you're on. So to kind of tell us what's going on in Carlos's life, what you're doing. You're definitely choosing your hard, bro. And I want the audience to know more about the hard that you're choosing.
So yeah, the hard that I'm choosing is just, man, it's a lot of more mental than it is physical. I don't think people really realize that. You know, what people see from me is my physical stuff, right? They're like, oh man, like, you know, you're throwing up weight, you're doing this, you're doing so much, you know, like physically you're a badass, you know, but the mental thing is what's hard. You know, I talk to a lot of people, for example, just, you know, going on the fitness journey. They're like, they don't even like going to a certain gym because they're like, no, it's too many people when I go in there. Like, everyone's looking at me, and I just find it so funny. I'm like, no, man, like try being me, bro. Like I can't even go to the damn mall and like try on shoes or like walk into the mall without getting people looking at me. You're telling me you can't walk into the damn gym to go better yourself? Nobody cares about you. Like that's what you gotta realize. Like, like it's even for me too. Like people might look at me for like 10 seconds, but they're like, oh yeah, I saw some weird guy walking. Okay, they forget about me, you know what I mean? So but going back to like what the fitness journey was, yeah, man. So I had really awesome parents. My parents are also very, get it done, doesn't matter, you can always find a way how to do it, especially my dad. So they just put me in everything, man. I mean, I even have like a story where I was younger, and I was my dad was trying to put me on a baseball team, right? Obviously I saw, when I was younger, like I was not how I am now. And that's what people don't realize. Like I've come a long way. Like now I can do a lot of stuff, but I used to wear braces, and I was in physical therapy. It was scrawny. I didn't have any coordination. I mean, it's been a long journey for me. And nobody wanted to take me on the baseball team. Like nobody wanted to take me, not even for like coach's pitch. And my dad was like, you know what, screw it. So him and my cousin just started their own team. And they took in like all the misfits, like everyone, like all the people that couldn't get on a team, they took them all in, man. So my dad was like, you know what, like I'm just gonna do this on my week. And he had
Dude, that's sick. Have you seen
yeah.
the Don't Bothers on Disney Plus yet?
No, I haven't.
Dude, go watch the Don't Bothers. Like
Yeah.
literally, kid gets kicked off the hockey team, and his mom starts the Don't Bothers team of all the misfits, all the kids that sucked,
awesome.
and you'd love it, dude.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, exactly.
It's called
like
Mighty.
that.
It's called Mighty Ducks, actually. Don't Bothers is the name of the team.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh yeah, shoot, it's been a long time since I've seen the Mighty Ducks, but yeah, I remember that.
Dude, so okay, so you guys start this team. Do you guys play? Like, what happened?
Yeah, we sucked, man. Like we just did what we could, like my dad is actually he's a coach. He coached tennis and he played baseball his whole life. And yeah, so he knew how to coach. So we did decent, man. Like we didn't do bad. We won one game. We did win one game that season. And I remember even like the parents and everybody being pissed off that we won and all this stuff. It was funny. But the point is, like, I always remember that, like I was like, I'm like, damn, like that's pretty crazy for my dad to be like, you know what, like, fuck you guys. Like, I'm going to do my own shit, like I'm going to make sure. And because my dad did stuff like that, that's why now, like, a lot of people would say like I'm arrogant or I'm crazy or, you should, everyone always tells me like, man, you shouldn't be lifting. You shouldn't be doing this. Like, you're going to worsen your situation and stuff. And I'm like, you're the type of people that if my dad hadn't done stuff like that, I wouldn't be able to, like, I wouldn't have learned that lesson of like, you know what, like, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it, might do it a little differently, but that's the way I'm going to be, So, my dad did like stuff like that. And it was good. It was awesome. It just showed me that I could do whatever I wanted, no matter what, growing up. If I wanted a skateboard, my parents bought me the damn skateboard, even though I was falling everywhere. If I wanted to do something, I wanted to try something, I did everything my parents would just almost like put me in. They would never tell me like, you know what, they wouldn't just sit me down and be like, protect you, because a lot of parents, they want to protect their kids. They want to make sure that nothing bad happens to them, but that's actually like a negative. So my parents would let me go in there, get roughed up, let whatever happen, buy me the bike, buy me the scooter, whatever. And then when I would come back, like, then they would sit me down and be like, okay, cool. Like, this is why it's hard. Now you understand. Now you can make the choice if you want to keep doing it, And of course, my ass was just, even though I was eating shit all the time, I was just doing it because I just wanted to make sure I could actually, try to live as normal life as possible, keep up with my friends. So as I grew up, that's kind of what the trend was and everything. And then when I got to, right before I got to high school, with cerebral palsy, what's going on is basically, I could have a great day. I could stretch out. I could, be mobile. My legs feel good. I feel somewhat decent. The walk's not as bad. I'm pretty good. But come nighttime, what happens is at night, my cerebral cortex, it's kind of just misfiring. It doesn't really know what to do. It's damaged to a way that I'm pretty sure there could be more studies on it. I just haven't gone to the doctor or anything. And your body starts to freak out. So your body just starts to tense up. It's like a defense mechanism. So when I wake up, I'm like, it's like a complete reset. I'm reset. I'm starting all over again and stuff. So don't cope that with going through puberty, growing up, trying to grow, my body's trying to grow taller as my muscles are tensing up. There's a lot of stuff going on and I'm actually getting worse as I'm growing up. It's actually not getting better. So we get to a point where, my parents, the doctor says, hey, we can do this surgery. It's where they elongate the Achilles tendon on both feet, and it's going to be a long recovery process. It might be good, it might be bad, we don't know. And I was like 13 at the time, and I just remember my parents coming to me, and they're just like, hey, like, what do you want to do? Like, there's a surgery, we can do surgery, or you can keep going the way you're going. And I just remember being like, wow, like I want to be normal, mom and dad. Like I want to try and live like as normal life as possible. So my parents were like, okay, so we're going to do it. So once we did that surgery, it was actually one of the biggest blessings ever. We did that surgery. I was in recovery for about almost 3 months. I remember all summer I was just in 2 casts, extremely painful. I could just feel my muscles trying to tense up, but I was in a cast, so it actually kept my feet like at a 90-degree angle because I'm very limited flexibility. My feet used to be a whole lot more turned in. I have very limited mobility on my hips and stuff. So, there's a lot to go over, but it just forced my body. Like my body would try to pull back, and like obviously I'm in a cast, so it couldn't. So it almost like taught my body how to like elongate. And in that time too, I also grew. When I got out of the cast, it was like starting from day one. And my dad, he was a tennis coach. So right immediately, as soon as like I got out of the cast, my dad put me in tennis and just started me mobile. He just started getting me moving, had me running, had me doing everything just the rest of the kids were doing. And I, trust me, I wanted to be like the rest of the kids too. So I would do everything that they were doing. And because of that moment in my life, it just kind of changed the trajectory of where I was going to go. I actually started getting better. And I just kept getting better and kept getting better. So my dad, he kept me in tennis. And, tennis is obviously like, it's not the most hardcore sport, right? But the thing is, it's all movement of your feet. It's all mobility. You're always moving. You're always having, these guys take like 10 to 15 steps in between shots. So I just started doing that. And it was the best thing for me. I played it all through high school. And I just kept getting better and better and better, and got into the gym. I lost weight, I started getting in really good shape, got into the gym, kept going, started squatting, started doing different things, ended up getting into CrossFit, which CrossFit makes you do basically use your legs every day, a lot of running and everything. And, I've got a ton of stories, but I just felt like, obviously I was raised and born a Christian, and I just felt like God was kind of just putting certain people in different situations just in my favor. I think I took like that leap of faith, like when you give it all to God. And I took that leap of faith, and we were rewarded for it. And I just started meeting and started connecting to different people, and just getting better and better and better. And I could feel myself getting better. I was like, I'm getting better. Like I'm getting faster. I'm moving my feet different. Like it's just not getting worse anymore. And it led me to where I'm at now, where I'm just like, I'm addicted. Like I'm like, I can just keep getting better. I can just keep overcoming it, So in a nutshell, right, there's tons of stories to tell, but it was just always adapting and always trying something else and continuing to just overcome, and a lot of people think like, it was just an aha moment, but it was just every day. It has to be you have to make the decision to be the best person, the best part of yourself. You have to make the decision that you're going to be better than yesterday. And it sounds cheesy. We listen to so much inspiration, so much motivation, but it really becomes like, you have to make it the habit, because, on my TikToks, on my social media, like I make it look, I can see how sometimes it just looks so easy. It just looks so awesome. Like I just show up to the gym and stuff. But I mean, you have to make it to a point, like I'm only motivated maybe like 5 to 10 times a day. Sometimes I get really down on myself. I doubt myself. Sometimes I'm at night, especially like with the TikTok blowing up and social media, I really put myself out there. Sometimes I'm almost like, what are you doing? Like you're just literally putting yourself out there for people to pick apart and make fun of you and all this stuff, and a lot of mental struggles. The suicidal thing has come and gone as I've grown up. And being denied a lot of things too. And it goes for everything, everyday things that people don't even really think about, as a guy, getting made fun of even like by the girl that you really liked, she would never date someone like you. Opportunities that you have that you get denied with, you're like, was it because of how I am? Like, oh, I wish if I wasn't this way, if I didn't have CP, like I could probably be doing this or be over here. And it's just more mental than the physical part. For me, it's easy. I'll show up, I'll throw the weight, give me 10 miles to run. Like, I might crawl to the finish line, but I'll fucking do it. I'll do whatever. Physically, I can throw this body anywhere, but it's the mental thing to show up, put yourself out there, and really, really like put yourself to the point where people can really just pick apart what they want from you, you know, and it takes bravery to do it, you know. So, and I see a lot of people too, even on TikTok, that help me, you know, connected with the cerebral palsy community on there, the disabled community on there, and there's some awesome people. Like, there's some people that have like no arms and they're killing it at the gym, like guys with like one leg, like, and that are just hauling ass through a run, you know. And I'm just like, damn, dude, like, if these guys can do it, like if they can do more than me with less than what I have, then like I have no excuse. But these are the mental things that I go through every single day, even to the point where like I could be like, I'll go out, I'll be on a date with a girl, or I'll be out with my friends, right? And when I sit down, I feel pretty good. I sit down. When I wake up, my muscles are tense again, and I'm walking worse than I did when I walked into the building. And that stresses me out. Going somewhere, one of the things that stressed me out even in high school and in college too, we'd go to the games, like going to the we have the symbol here for UTEP, going to the games to climb like those stairs, right? Like everyone's all happy and stuff. Like I'm literally like in anxietyville. Like I'm just like, bro, like how am I gonna get up there? How am I not gonna fall in front of everybody? You know what I mean? So it's just a lot more mental stuff than people really realize.
Yeah, dude, thank you. Thank you for being vulnerable too and sharing that, man. I don't think you realize like how powerful it is being able to share true, like, you know, your story, what you're going through, the struggles, the obstacles. Because when you were telling your story there's something key that it's like we all know it, but I don't think we all really hear it and realize that there's always somebody in a worse situation than us, right?
Absolutely.
Even like you talked about, like you see these people with no arms and one leg and they're still going.
Mhm.
And even for them, right, they have those struggles. You know, imagine how they feel. But then there's someone worse than them that has no arms or legs.
Yeah.
And it's so for everybody watching this, I always love to try to, like, you know, for everybody to be able to discern for them how this applies to their life. And I just want to encourage you guys, like, no matter what your circumstance is, whether it's a physical thing, a mental thing, you know, emotional, whatever, those obstacles, those challenges that you're overcoming, there always is someone out there that's in a worse situation than where you're at right now. And I love how, like, our topic is overcoming adversity, because we all face adversity. It's so crazy, man. Like, even the most healthy, fit, genetically perfect person in the world, and they struggle with insecurity. You know what I mean? Like, they have their own adversity or whatever it is, right? And they're struggling through that and overcoming that. And I've just learned in my lifetime that we all have our own form of adversity and whatever that looks like.
Absolutely. I like you know, kind of playing off of what you're saying. I always tell people, I'm like, look, we all have a disability in our life. We all have the cerebral palsy in our life, something that you fight against, something that might inhibit you, something that you've gone through. You know, there's different types of trauma. My trauma was physical, and it affected me physically, you know, but there are people that go through traumas, and it messes them up mentally, you know, like even like maybe like a soldier, or someone in the army, or someone in the police force, you know. Like I was just talking to someone who's a sheriff, things that they see on a daily basis that just you know, affect them to the point where like that ends up being their cerebral palsy, something that stops them, you know. So we all have it in our own right, and it is good to look at it and be like, oh well, someone has it worse than you know. But we all deserve that moment to be like, oh, you know what, like it is tough. It's tough what you've been through. It's tough what you're going through right now, you know. It doesn't take away from your situation. So I don't want people to actually, you know, be like, oh, well, this guy has like no, you know, like no, like my problems still matter too. Like all people's problems matter. This is just like a simple, you know, mind game that I like to play, because you end up having to play games with your mind, because your mind is always working against you. Your mind is a no tool. It will always say no. It will always try to find a way. Even plans with your friends, you know, you have plans and then you're all excited, and then 10 minutes early before you want to cancel for some reason, you know, your brain will always tell you no. So yeah, but that is just that to me, that is the best way to look at it. You know, we're even here, like, I mean, let's be real. You know, there's a big victim mentality going on right now, right?
Big time.
Huge. And I always think, I'm like, man, you know what? And imagine me being disabled and not growing up in America. You know, you look at other countries, you look at other places, they throw those kids away. They don't even bother with those kids. There's no medical stuff out there. Nobody wants to help them. Those are the ones that end up, they don't have any opportunities. The job won't even take them. Thank God here, like, I mean, it sounds kind of messed up, but it's true. Companies like are kind of legally liable to hire you. You know, if you're disabled, they have to have a ratio of everything, whether it comes to race, it comes to disability, it comes to having soldiers. Like, these are all the things that protect us. You know, I got hired at, like, for example, Costco here. I might have gotten hired if I anywhere if I was born in another country. You know what I mean? So you also have to look at too, like, we're so blessed to be here. I am so blessed to be here, to be able to grow up in a place where, yeah, it wasn't easy, yeah, it wasn't hard, but like, look at me now. Look at me being able to turn this into a positive. You know, look at me now being able to inspire people, motivate people, and reach people. You know, I mean, that's incredible in itself. And I think people just need to start realizing, like, you know, there's a lot of people have a lot of bad stuff to say about where we're at right now, but I just think we live in this crazy spoiled bubble where we're at. You know, it's a first world problem for everything, and it really irks me with so many things. Even people that are like, well, they didn't do, you know, they pronounced my name wrong, or they didn't address me right, or this was offensive. Like, dude, I mean, really, like, those are the problems you're gonna focus on. Like, the world is on fire right now, and you're gonna focus on because they didn't say your name right, or they didn't get you, they didn't, you know, they didn't accept you, they didn't like you. Someone used this derogatory term. I mean, the world is the world, and that's one thing I look at too. Is like, when I want to act down on myself, I'm like, you're acting like a spoiled brat right now, man. Like, you could have been with parents that didn't even give a crap about you. You could have,
Yeah.
you know, you could have literally been like in another country where they don't even accept you at all anywhere, and they're not legally liable to even hire you or give you the opportunity. So I'm also very blessed. As much as it might seem like, oh, you know, he deals with a lot. Like, I live a pretty good life, man. I have pretty good opportunities compared to a lot of stuff out there in the world, man. A lot of people out there.
Amen, brother. I think a lot of us take that for granted.
Yeah.
It's sad, man. And like you said, like, this victim mentality is such an issue right now, and everybody's playing this victim card. They're not taking ownership of their life, and you know, it's sad, man. And there's a famous book on this. It might be by Tao Zhu or whatever, but it talks about how, like, hard times create, like, hard men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then those hard men create good times, and those good times create soft men, and then those soft men create hard times, and then those hard times recreate hard men. And it's like this cycle that we live in. And I personally think, culturally, if you actually study it, this is happening. And we've gone through where there were difficult times and leaders rose, both men and women, not just saying men, that just describes it in that context in the book, that they worked hard, they rose, they built us the cushy lifestyle that we have. And now it's really good. And now we all bitch, and now we all complain, not all of us, but a good majority of us. And we're getting really soft, and we're surrounded by all these people with this victim mentality. And it's sad, dude, because the cycle is going to repeat itself, because all these people are becoming this way. It's only bound before we enter hard times again, because they're taking for granted how good we got it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. It almost becomes the comfort becomes a negative, you know. There's this brand that I really like. It's called Fuel Hum, but they always have a saying, and I hold that close to me now. It's how does it go? It said, comfort is a slow death, prefer pain, you know? And it goes back to, like, even what I've gone through. I think I'm so much, I really don't know. You can always say, well, I don't know how I would have been otherwise, but I think I'm so much better off the way I ended up. I've gone through so much and overcome so much, and I'm always in an uncomfortable place.
Bro, you are 100%. You are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, you know, maybe I'm better off. Like, I'm kind of glad for the hard times. I'm glad I went through that, because I see stuff happen to other people, and like we talk about, they just sink. They don't know
Dude,
how
your
to handle it.
adversity was the greatest blessing that God could have ever given you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And even people have asked me, they're like, even when I was younger, not to get all, cheesy or whatever, but even I remember like one year my mom just stayed up crying with me because like, you know, she's like, well, what do you want from Santa Claus? And I was like, I want Santa Claus to bring me new legs. And she's like, I don't know if Santa Claus can bring you new legs, mijo, like what, they call it mijo that down here. I'm Hispanic. And I was like, well, I want that. Why can't he bring it to me? Like, he can bring me anything else. You said, and I can just imagine, I know my parents went through a lot too, obviously having to see your kid like that. Now, if there really was a Santa Claus, I don't think I would ask for new legs. I think I would think that would be a negative for me. Like, if I were to just all of a sudden have everything I want, I think I almost think, like, to me, I've gone through so much shit. It's like I'm addicted to it. I'm like, that would be too easy, man. Like, it would be too easy to just be at everybody at the gym and just be the best at everything. Like, it's almost like, who wants to be king? You know what I mean? Like, who is that what I really want? And going back to it, I'm just so much better. I've gotten so much skills, how to adapt, how to overcome, how to keep going, how to learn how to use what I have. I obviously I lack physically sometimes, but I make up for it, in speech and, mentally and learning other skills that have made me better. It's almost like when they say, you lose a sense, like if you're blind, you can hear a little bit better and stuff. So I just feel like because of this negative, I have so much more positives, and it humbles me every day. I'm always able to be at a level of, it's giving me a lot, empathy for others. And I always like to put myself in other people's shoes, and all these skills that I've learned, how to talk to people, because that was always a big thing for me too. I was like, well, these guys like think, it goes out, these guys like think like, okay, is he okay? Like, is something wrong with him? Is he drunk? Is he like, what's going on with this guy? So I knew by the time that I got into a circle with somebody or a group of friends or whatever, a group of people, when I walk up to them, they're already like on a negative, like, okay, like, what's going on here? So I was like, I have to learn how to talk. I have to learn how to do eye contact, like, shake a hand, like, just be the presence, that I am there. And because of that, I've gotten really good at speaking and, addressing people and stuff. So, I've just learned so much more by going through all of these hard times, being humbled every day, and just constantly working at a goal. And I think most people don't have goals, right? They're just kind of going aimlessly through life. And because I have this goal to show up every day and better myself, it just leads into everything else. And because I go to the gym, right? I go to the gym, I make it a habit. I feel better about myself. My endorphins are going, and it bleeds into my life, and it just makes things a whole lot better, So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my cerebral palsy, man. I used to think it was the worst thing ever. It was a negative, but I'm grateful for it, man. Like, thank God this happened to me, because
Dude, let's fucking go, guys. It's crazy. Like, you are grateful for the adversity that God put in your life because you understand that it's actually a blessing. And there's a lot of you out there right now. And maybe it's you watching this right now. Maybe it's not. But if it is you, quit. I want to say something I probably shouldn't say. But quit being what you know you're being, and start realizing that that adversity was given to you for a reason, to overcome and to grow into who you were meant to become. And I really hope you understand what I just said, guys. Like, I think that, like, people don't realize that adversity is a gift. And even furthermore, I pursue adversity. And what I see from you, Carlos, is you pursue adversity. You like a challenge. You like difficulty. You like having to work your ass off to accomplish something. And that is the mentality that it takes to become somebody that is truly great in this world. Because how do we build a muscle? We break it down first. How do we build a great life? We got to get broke down first. Why is it that Jesus Christ went to all the broken people? Because they were finally ready to receive God and relationship with God in their heart. And that tells us that adversity has a meaning. It has a point in our lives. That adversity is where we grow. And that if you're staying in your cush, comfort zone, and whining and complaining and bitching why your life isn't what you want it to be, then maybe you need to intentionally create some discomfort in your life so you can grow.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You know, you come to realize like people that are, you look at their life and they're like, they're depressed. They don't have, they, you know, seems like they have everything. They can't get out of their rut. You know, they're on prescription meds. They go see a therapist 5 times a week. And you just look at their life and it's like, the problem is you have no problems. The problem is you have, and you know, and those are probably the people that we should feel bad for most. You always be like, oh, people with all that money, like how can they be so unhappy? And it's, you got to really start to realize like what happiness is. Happiness is a journey. It's not a destination. You know, and you know, going back to like, you know, looking at people, I always think about this too. Obviously, like Jesus, right? Jesus is now the most loved and talked about, you know, hated person in the world, obviously. But you gotta think like even he's the son of God, right? He's almighty, and they murdered him. Like he had to go through that to get to where we're at now, right?
Yeah.
And he did it for others. He did it for all of his children, right? We're all his children. That's what he did it for, you know. So even when I'm doing stuff like that, is, if we're to be like God, we're be to like Jesus, you know, you have to live your life for others, you know.
Yeah.
And I think we're all very selfish right now. We're all me, you know. Of course, social media has played a big part of it. I've been guilty of it at sometimes too, you know. It's human nature. But you know, living a life for others is, Jesus showed us the way. He did it for others, you know. And so I go back to myself too. I'm like, dude, you got to do it for other people. Yeah, you're depressed today. Today's not a good day. It's not a good leg day. You know, you're limping a little bit more. You're feeling down, whatever. But guess what? Someone's counting on you, right? Imagine like Jesus just said, oh, you know what, man, that's going to be a lot of stuff. The cross, you know, you guys are jerks anyway. You guys don't even believe in me. Why would I do it? You know, you got to show up. You got to, it's game day every day, you know? So that's one thing to look at, man. I think especially right now, you have to just really have perspective on how lucky and how blessed we are here. And I know too, like it's been a crazy year with social media, the news, all kinds of, you know, COVID was wild, and there's a lot to say about everything, you know. But I know it's hard, I know it sucks, but you know, even when I tell people too, like even like, for example, you know, the gay community here, I'm like, I talk to people, I'm like, I know it's hard. Like, I know like there's still, you know, we're all fighting for equality and we're all going to keep going. But imagine being gay in another country. You know what I mean? You know, racism exists all over the world. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, we're not perfect, but I mean, if you really put in perspective, we're in a much better place than you would be anywhere else, you know. And we have to really get out. We have to be thankful, you know. Don't look at what you don't have, be thankful for what you do have. For sure.
Amen, brother. Amen. And I think like, you know, really hit on that gratitude, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, I know one thing that I've instilled in myself, and I do it every morning. I always wake up every day and I start going through my mind. I have a morning, I call it like a prayer walk, or typically I walk around outside. That's the best time that I pray and really just talk with God. And I just always start with gratitude. I don't think about all the things that I want, all the things I don't have, all of the adversity. I really just actually start with like, man, I'm so grateful to wake up. I'm so grateful to see another beautiful day. I'm grateful for these people in my life. I'm grateful for opportunities. I'm grateful for experiences. I'm grateful for the trajectory I'm on. Like just expressing gratitude before anything else. And I think like when we actually start developing perspective on what we're grateful for in life, overcoming adversity becomes easier. Because then you start realizing how blessed you actually are. Like even for you, Carlos, yeah, you could sit here and whine and bitch and complain. I got born with cerebral palsy and it's so hard. But you get to say, no, dude, like I still can move. I can still go to the gym. I can overcome this. I can inspire people. I'm still alive. I still have opportunities. I live in America, and you're grateful. And therefore, like those challenges, they don't seem so big now because you realize how freaking lucky you are.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. I have a friend that I met through social media, and he always like on all his posts are blessed to work for it, and I think that's just so powerful. You know,
that's good, dude.
Just be happy. Yeah, this guy Claudio. I don't know if he's watching, but yeah, this guy like he has awesome posts, and he's blessed to work for it. And I always think about that. I'm like, dude, it is a blessing to be able to like, you know, get your hands dirty and work for something awesome, to just have the opportunity to create a life that you want, that you can do, you know. And even for me too, man, like I've anything that I've wanted to do, like I go out and it might take me a little bit longer, but I make sure I get it done, man. I'm also that type of person too. Like I'm like, I don't care what I'm gonna do. I don't care if I have to be broke for 4 years. I don't care. Like I'm gonna do what I need to do, and I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it, you know, and like hell or high water, man. And that's how it has to be. And it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. A lot of people don't like it. You know, a lot of people.
Good.
I've heard.
Get them uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard a lot of like, you're a little bit too much. I don't like this energy. Well, you know, a bunch of stuff, you know, and I go, it's okay because I'm not doing it for you. The person that's like, you know what, keep this coming. That's the person I'm doing it for, you know? And so we also have to have that mentality too. Like in the end, you need to fight for what you want in life. Yes, like there's a lot of things to say, even for myself too. Yeah, there's you know, I have a lot of obstacles, but you know, when it comes down to it, like when the bills got to get paid, you know, you might just say, oh, you know what, I have cerebral palsy. I don't care. Like, where's the money, you know, or this or that, whatever. People don't care. Like, you have to go out and get shit done. There will be no sympathy for
and
you.
ain't nobody gonna fucking do it for you. And at the end of the day, like I say this all the time, usually with clients and people that I work with, but it's a hard truth but the truth is nobody cares about you like the way that you care about you.
Absolutely.
Nobody. Because at the end of the day, if it's you or me, you're picking you every single time. Exactly. And that's the world that we live in. That's actually the way that our brain's designed. There's nothing wrong with it. It's the survival mechanism of the human brain. It's the primal part of the brain. It's wired to protect us. So it's actually not like people intentionally are being mean or disliking people. It's the way that we were actually created to protect our life.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You know, it just goes back to just, you know, you're fighting for yourself. You're doing it for yourself. And for the people that you love around you, and that's it. And it doesn't matter what anybody else has to say. Like, you have your goal in mind, you know what you need to do, and just get it done, man. Because in the end, nobody cares. I can have all the sympathy in the world, I can have all the pity in the world. They're not gonna pay my bills. You know, they might give me sympathy. No one's paying my bills. The government's not paying my damn bills. You know, no one's paying my bills. No one's gonna pay my bills. You know, like a lot of people are like, oh my God, we're getting a stimmy. Like, really, bro? That's your goal. That's your success option. Like, free money for the government. I almost felt like, oh my God, I had $400, but I'm like, wait a minute. That just puts me like on the level with everybody else. I don't want to fucking be like everyone else. Like, I need to add a zero to that shit. Like, I need to do more. You know, and that
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, that comes to the mentality. Like,
so let's talk about that, because I know we're coming up to the end of the show here. Carlos, where are you taking all this, man? I see big things for you. I naturally, God gave me the gift and the ability to see sometimes really something in other people. I don't know if they quite see in themselves yet, but where do you want to take all this, man? You're building a following, you're building influence, you have a story that changes lives. Where do you want to go with this? Where do you want to be 5 years from now with everything that you're doing?
I would love to definitely do some public speaking and just create a brand where I can create like a place where I can connect with as many people as possible and just be their daily inspo and motivation. I don't know what that looks like. You know, I've tried a lot of different things. With TikTok, it's looking a certain way, but you know, we've had conversations about what I could possibly do. Nonetheless, though, I definitely would love to just motivate and inspire full time, right? And put some food on the table for me and my daughter. But I really want to bring value to people's lives, and I want to do it in a organic and in a full way. So I would love to definitely just build a brand around everything that I'm doing. How it looks like, I'm not too sure, but that's the fun part of the journey, right? We'll see where it takes me.
Figuring it out, man. Making it up as you go.
Yeah, definitely, man. But yeah, we're definitely growing something really special through all social media. All the social media is powerful, especially like on TikTok. It's just turned into something that's incredible. You know, I went out there, like, my biggest thing was like, become part of their creator fund. And but now the way I'm seeing it is just how I'm touching so many people's lives. People send me messages, how I'm helping people and stuff. And that really gets me going. That gets me going more than any money amount, more than anything else that could happen. Like, the fact that I can be there for people, that brings me value. That helps me throw up more weight in the gym. That helps me get up in the morning. So I want more of that, right? So that's going to require me to give me even more of myself. put myself even more out there, even more vulnerable. And that's a challenge in itself. But like we said, I'm always up for a challenge, man. So let's go.
Well, I can tell you right now, man, you already are inspiring people. You already are motivating people. You already are stepping into that purpose that God gave you. So know that. You're already making an impact on a lot of lives, man. And I know, being somebody that's in this space, that sometimes it's hard for us to see the impact we're actually making. But it's easy for someone else that sees the ripple you're making to tell you you're making a splash, bro. And it's only just beginning. So I just want to encourage you, brother, like, keep doing what you're doing. And, we've had conversations outside of this. We'll continue to have conversations. I just want you to know that you have the support of me, of Motivation Everything, of Maverick Media. Fully, I see big things for you. I'm excited to watch your journey. I'm excited to watch you continue on this route. I personally think you should be on stages, speaking in front of millions of people, sharing this story. And I think that through that servitude of really inspiring other people with the adversity you've had to overcome, how that translates into their life and how they can overcome their adversity, that the fruit that will be poured into your life will be unfathomable.
Oh man, that's huge, man. Honestly, I think you're right. I in my big perspective, my crazy thing, I am talking to people on stages. I am helping people. I am doing one-on-ones with people. I am living for others, and that's what I want to do, man. And I know God gave me a purpose, and it's to serve in the way that He wants ultimately. That's what it all comes back down to, is just what is the plan for me? What did God have in store for me? And I want to do that. I don't think there's any other way to live your life. I think it would be empty. So yeah, man, I'm basically giving it to Him, and let's go. Let's go.
Dude, I love it, bro. So here's what I want to do. I want to throw a banner up with all the places that people can connect with you on. And then I have one last question to finish out the show on. So, awesome. And what places? Obviously, we'll start with TikTok. This is probably the best platform, guys, to connect. What's your TikTok handle?
So my TikTok handle is Native Cult. So NATIVE CULT.
Okay. And then Facebook, where would be the next place to connect? IG?
Yeah, let's do IG. Instagram would be good. Those are my main two ones.
Is that Native Cult as well?
Yes, that is also Native Cult. Only thing with IG is the cult. It's CVLT. I've been trying to get the original Native Cult for forever. They don't even use that account. I've wrote to them so many times, but for now it's a ZVLT.
And then let's go ahead and do Facebook as well, which you're tagged in this, but your Facebook is just Carlos Sandoval III, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
All right. And then I think we'll just do it like this. All right. Let me know if this looks right. But guys, I really want to encourage you guys to go connect and follow Carlos here, the Native Cult. You're going to get inspired. I really, really want to push you guys to go follow him on TikTok. He's beginning to share that on other platforms. And I think recently you started sharing it on Facebook too, right?
Yeah. I mean, anywhere that I could get it out. I hadn't been active on Facebook for a while, but like we've discussed, going to definitely work on that.
Omnipresent, dude. Put it everywhere. You're going to reach the most people with it. It's going to help you. And then I think, honestly, dude, you need to start a podcast or something, or a show like this soon. You need to start getting your face out there more, even outside the TikToks. Yeah. Just because like today, this is what we call a long form content. And I recorded all this. I'm going to send it to you too as awesome. A gift, and encourage you to use this and to share it with people. But your TikTok has a certain type of impact. This long form content has another type of impact. And we always make a joke in the marketing, at least me and some of the people I rub shoulders with. It's like back in the day when a girl would only show her ankles. And that's like your share, like 30-second clips, right? Then you get to your 2 to 5 minute clips where you start showing up like thigh high, and you start moving up to where you get to the long form content where people love what you talk about so much that they listen to an hour-long podcast because they just enjoy the value that you bring them.
Yeah, and that's incredible, man. I would love to get my value up there. If somebody's willing to listen to you for an hour, man, I mean, you've got something to say, especially in this time and age of so much BS and fluff. I mean, that is incredible. So
yeah, dude. And you got something to say. So I want to end on one question. I want to honor your time and everybody else's. So there's a question I like to ask on this show. And the reason I ask it is because years ago, when I was getting into the personal development space and beginning to go into wanting to serve and motivate others, my mentor asked me this. Okay. And I'm going to ask you it today. And the question is, Carlos, what breaks your heart in the world and why?
Oh man, that's a big one. There's a lot that breaks my heart in the world. I guess I would say just someone that doesn't really recognize, that kind of just thinks that we're living for nothing, right? That we're just this ball in space that is like life is meaningless, because life is meant to be lived and it's meant to be enjoyed. And you're meant to take in all the benefits of what, you know, the creator has created for us. And there's people that really go through life and they feel like they have no purpose. They feel no love. They feel no empathy, nothing from nobody. And that really breaks my heart. There's someone out there that just never really realizes the opportunity that we have right now. I mean, just to breathe, just to open your eyes, just to be able to like touch the dirt on the ground. Like, it's absolutely incredible, you know? So there's people that I know, they just kind of go aimlessly through life, and that's pretty sad. That was pretty sad.
Man, that was some gold, guys. That was some gold.
Yeah.
Carlos, dude, thank you so much for coming on the Motivation Everything show. It was an honor having you. Really inspiring getting to hear your story, brother. Look forward to watching you on this continued journey as you continue to motivate and inspire other people to really overcome their adversity in life. For everyone else, guys, thank you guys for tuning into the show. Some of you guys have watched from start to end, and it says a lot about you. I just want to take a moment to honor the people that take time to tune in to things like this, that personally develop you to become a better version of who you were created to be. It was because of resources like this that guys like Carlos and me were able to really step into our purpose. We invested in ourselves. We invested in our mindsets. We put in the work. We overcame the adversity. And we looked at people that had already done it. At least I can speak for myself. And Carlos, I'm sure you've plugged into a lot of resources too. And definitely. I don't know, guys, that's this stuff like this that keeps me going, at least. And my hope is that even one of you got something out of Carlos, today that really inspired you and impacted your life to overcome your adversity and to step into your God-given potential and live a life of intention and fulfillment through that.
Awesome, man. Yes. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. It was an honor. Thank you, brother, for having me and the opportunity to talk. I really wanted to start doing more stuff like this and get deep, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Dude, no problem. I have some ideas for you too. And for anybody that tunes into my show, if you guys have a podcast and you'd love to get Carlos on it, I'm sure he'd be open to it. Shoot me a message and I'll connect you guys with him. I would love for his message to get out more to the world. But we're out, guys. Have a good night.